I need you to listen with your entire being, because understanding this is going to save you from countless nights of questioning yourself, years of emotional turmoil, and so much wasted heart. For more than a decade, I've dived into the depths of human behavior, ancient truths, and the codes of connection. And I've identified 5 distinct phrases. When you hear these from a man, they broadcast his real agenda so loudly that ignoring them is like sleeping through a tornado siren. These are far more than just warning signs. They are sophisticated mind games wrapped in everyday language. After today, you'll spot them instantly. Please stick with me, because the 5th phrase is the most covert and emotionally destructive of them all. It slips past the defenses of almost every woman, yet it might be the single most crucial lesson you learned this year for guarding your spirit. But before we get to these 5 phrases, there's a core truth you must grasp that will forever alter how you engage with men. Most women have been trained to always offer the benefit of the doubt, to look for a man's potential rather than his actual behavior. We're taught to be healers, not protectors of our own energy. This conditioning is so ingrained that our innate ability to sense emotionally manipulative people has been dulled. And yes, that's what I am calling them. These individuals use specific linguistic tricks to probe your limits, devalue your standards, and erode your sense of self. The ancient principle of Chi, or life force energy, shows that words are not just sounds, they are transfers of power. When a man speaks, he's not just sharing ideas. He is injecting his inner world, his hidden motives, and his genuine level of regard for you right into your soul's space. This is the real reason some conversations make you feel so drained, foggy, or insecure, even when nothing obvious was said. Your gut felt the energetic sting of manipulation, but your mind was busy trying to find a logical excuse for it. What I'm giving you now isn't just dating coaching. It's a method for energetic armor that shields not only your heart, but your entire destiny. Because here's the untold secret: your choice in a partner doesn't just impact your love life. It influences your career trajectory, your friendships, your family bonds, your self-image, your financial well-being, and yes, even your physical vitality. Pick wrong, and you will dedicate years of your precious life force to recovering from the fallout. Pick right, or better still, learn to spot and detach from the wrong ones instantly, and you make room for something truly magnificent to find you. The very first phrase that should have you moving away immediately, not hesitantly, is when a man declares, "You're just being too emotional," or any version like, "You're so dramatic," or "You're blowing this out of proportion." This line is a masterpiece of psychological maneuvering, crafted to make you distrust your own accurate reading of a situation. When a man tells you your emotional reactions are too much, he isn't critiquing your feelings. He's announcing his own lack of capacity to deal with a woman who is self-aware and unafraid to voice her reality. Here's the play-by-play of what's happening. He's testing to see if you will betray your own emotional compass to cater to his ease. He's probing to see if you will make yourself smaller to help him feel more powerful. A man who genuinely treasures you won't invalidate your feelings. He gets interested in them. He wants to know more. He leans in to listen. He works to see things from your angle, even if he doesn't immediately get it. When he tells you that your honest emotional state is inappropriate or over the top, he is communicating that his comfort is a higher priority than your truth. The most dangerous part of this phrase is how it sows a tiny seed of self-doubt that festers into a weed. You start to second-guess every feeling, every instinct, every flash of deep knowing. You start to police yourself, always wondering, am I asking for too much? Again, this is the exact goal of these emotional manipulators. They need you to be disconnected from your inner navigation, as your intuition is the only thing that can truly see through their game. Women who have faced this kind of dismissal for years often have to spend immense effort rebuilding the connection to their own emotional world. They've forgotten what they genuinely feel because they were programmed to think their feelings were a problem. This is a form of spiritual damage, and it's become rampant in relationships because we've been taught to accept it as boys will be boys. But let me make this clear: emotionally mature, conscious men don't do this. They see a woman's emotional depth not as a software glitch to be fixed, but as a core feature to be celebrated. The second phrase that ought to make you sprint for the exit is, "I'm just being real with you," or, "Hey, I'm just telling you the truth," particularly when it's hot on the heels of a cutting, pointless, or intentionally wounding remark. This phrase is a strategy to frame cruelty as a form of high-minded virtue. When a person uses honesty as a club, they are not being truthful. They are being harmful and attempting to make you thank them for the pain. True honesty flows from a place of love and authentic concern for someone else's spirit. It is presented with warmth, empathy, and respect for timing and place, When a man delivers a deliberately painful blow and then takes cover behind the just being honest shield, he's showing you that he's either completely devoid of empathy or that he actually gets a kick out of seeing you hurt and wants to make it your fault. This exact pattern has systematically dismantled the self-worth of so many women. He'll aim his honesty at your looks, your mind, your aspirations, your connections, anything that is dear to you. And if you dare to say it hurt, he will act as if you're the broken one for not being able to handle his truth. This builds a mental cage where you start to equate love with enduring harshness and believe that asking for gentle communication makes you fragile or demanding. The reality is, a man who is for you will instinctively want to lift you higher, not cut you down. Of course, tough conversations are part of any real relationship, but they are handled with care, aiming to make the bond stronger, not to make you feel smaller. When someone repeatedly uses honesty as a license for meanness, they are showing you loud and clear that they are not on your team. They care more about feeling dominant than building real connection. What makes this tactic so potent is that our society has taught us to prize honesty over gentleness. So, we sometimes feel we owe gratitude to people who are real with us, even when that realness feels like an emotional assault. But I need you to know this: you are allowed to have both truth and kindness. In fact, honesty without compassion is not honesty, it's simply brutality wearing a disguise of integrity. The third phrase that must set off every internal alarm you have is, you are trying to be controlling. Whenever you state a boundary, a need, or a valid concern, this is pure gaslighting, a tactic designed to make you terrified of standing up for yourself in the dynamic of your connection. When a man relabels your fair and normal requests as a power play, he is conditioning you to stop voicing your needs altogether. Let's be perfectly clear on what boundaries are. They are not acts of control. They are not selfish demands. They are not punishments. Your personal boundaries are your way of sharing what you require to feel safe, honored, and seen in a partnership. When you express things like, "It's important to me that you let me know if you're running late," or "The way you just spoke to me wasn't okay," or "I need us to have focused time together without phones," you are not being a controller. You are being clear about what respect looks like to you. A man who hits back by calling you controlling is showing you a critical piece of his character. He's saying his personal freedom is more vital than your sense of security. He's telling you he sees your needs not as a guide on how to cherish you, but as roadblocks to his personal convenience. This is not the groundwork for a thriving relationship. This is the setup for a power imbalance where you slowly erase yourself to avoid getting that label. The outcome for women in these dynamics is devastating. They start to squash their needs, swallow their pain, and tolerate behavior that betrays their own values because they have been brainwashed into thinking that having standards makes them difficult. They wear low maintenance as a badge of honor, failing to see they are abandoning their own soul to appease someone who does not prioritize their spirit. Here's what's essential to grasp. A man who is genuinely in love with you wants to learn your boundaries so he can honor them. He gets that your personal lines aren't restrictions on him. They are the very structure that allows real trust and closeness to grow. When you feel secure enough to state your needs without fear of being shamed, you can truly open up and be your most authentic and loving self. The men who accuse you of being controlling for having needs are the very same men who would walk all over you if you had none. They desire full access to your world while giving the bare minimum back. They want the rewards of your devotion without the responsibility that comes with truly holding another person's heart. The fourth phrase is possibly the most understated but just as damaging. "I'm not looking for anything serious," or "I'm just not in a place for a relationship right now." But here's the catch. He says this while behaving as if he's your committed partner. He's in constant contact, he fills his schedule with you, he introduces you to his inner circle, maybe even family, he tells you his deepest secrets, and he cultivates all the emotional closeness of a real relationship while explicitly stating it's not one. This phrase is a hidden power play posing as upfront honesty, and it's crafted to let him enjoy every benefit of your presence without any of the commitment of truly being with you. He gets the best of both worlds. He receives your emotional care, your physical intimacy, your time, your focus, and your loyalty, all while keeping a get-out-of-jail-free card to leave at any moment, guilt-free, because was honest from the start. This tactic is so heartbreaking because it places you in a checkmate position. If you go along with it, you are actively co-signing an agreement where you are an option, not a priority. If you voice your desire for more, he can just point back to his original statement and make it seem like you're unfairly moving the goalposts. If you leave, you're tormented by the feeling that you might be giving up on something that could have turned real if you were just more patient. But I need you to hear me on this. When a man wants you, truly, fully wants you, there is zero ambiguity. There are no maybes, no what ifs, no let's just feel it out. When a man sees your immense value and wants to be a permanent part of your world, he acts with purpose and clarity. The men who hold you in this relationship limbo are not uncertain. They are crystal clear on what they want, which is to keep you on call without having to fully choose you. This dynamic is uniquely painful because it locks you in emotionally while chipping away at your self-worth. You start to think that maybe you aren't good enough to be fully chosen, that you have to prove you're worthy by taking less than you truly desire. You start to think of commitment as a prize to be won instead of a natural outcome of mutual love. The most confusing part is that these men can truly like you. They love being around you. They are drawn to you. They may even have a version of love for you, but they value their own sense of freedom and keeping their options open more than they value your heart's security. They would rather hold you in uncertainty than risk losing their access to you by being truly transparent. And now we've arrived at the fifth and most insidious phrase, the one so subtle that women don't clock it as a manipulative tactic until many years have passed, when they're left piecing their own identity back together. That phrase is, "You have changed," spoken not as a celebration, but as an indictment. He says it with a tone of disappointment, an undercurrent of accusation, hinting that the person you're blossoming into is somehow a downgrade from the person he first knew. This phrase is a soul killer because it's engineered to make you halt your own growth, your own evolution, and your own authentic unfolding just to crawl back into a box that was more comfortable for him. When a man weaponizes, "You've changed," he's revealing that he wasn't in love with your true potential to become yourself. He was in love with your potential to serve his ego. Here is what is actually going on. You are leveling up. You're setting healthier boundaries, chasing your ambitions, finding your voice, or simply radiating more self-assurance. And instead of cheering you on, instead of feeling honored to be part of your journey, he feels destabilized by it. Why? Because the version of you he felt safer with was smaller, more compliant, more centered on him, and less centered on her own glorious expansion. This phrase hits so hard because it attacks your deepest core need, the need to be loved and seen for who you truly are. When a person you love suggests that your personal growth is a form of betrayal, it sparks a deep internal conflict. You begin to question if becoming more authentic is worth losing his affection. You wonder if you need to shrink again, back to a size that made him feel secure. I have seen brilliant women shelve their dreams, cut off supportive friendships, and abandon their passions because a man made them feel guilty for evolving. They quit going to counseling because what's making them different. They give up hobbies because he misses having all their focus. They stop asking for what they need because he liked them better when they were more accommodating. But you must understand this. At the deepest core, a man who authentically loves you doesn't just put up with your growth, he celebrates it. He gets a thrill from seeing you become more confident, more powerful, and more aligned with your own purpose. He knows that your expansion isn't a threat to the relationship, it's a vital nutrient that enriches it, because you're bringing a more whole and vibrant version of yourself to the table. When a man makes you feel bad for changing, he is confessing that he preferred you when you were less than you are now. He's admitting his affection was conditional upon you staying in your cage. This isn't love, this is a form of control. This is someone wanting to possess you, not partner with you. The most painful part is how women internalize this criticism as proof they've failed, that they have been disloyal to the relationship by becoming more themselves. They feel shame for taking up more space, for having stronger convictions, for shining brighter. They start seeing their own becoming as an act of selfishness instead of the beautiful and necessary journey of a conscious life. Now that you've been shown these 5 phrases and their true meaning, you might be feeling a swirl of different things. Maybe you're having flashbacks to past relationships. Maybe your current connections are starting to look different. Maybe you're angry that this wasn't taught to you sooner. Maybe you're deeply relieved to be learning it right now. All of that is completely normal. I want you to sit with whatever is surfacing for you. But please hear this. This knowledge is not intended to make you bitter about love or paranoid about every man. It's about cultivating sharp discernment, the power to know the difference between people who genuinely want what's best for you and people who are focused on what you can do for them. This is about learning to heed your gut signal when something feels wrong, even when your mind can't name it. The fact is, there are incredible men out there who would never utter these phrases because they know that genuine love is about building a safe harbor, not setting up tests. There are men who adore your sensitivity, knowing it's just another name for deep emotional wisdom. There are men who share hard truths with deep kindness because your heart actually matters to them. There are men who champion your boundaries because they know that's what makes true intimacy possible. There are men who choose you with certainty and excitement because they see your worth clearly. There are men who get joy from watching you soar because your expansion adds to the beauty of your connection. These men are real, but you cannot spot them if you are making excuses for the men who devalue you. You cannot call them in if you are accepting treatment that screams against your intuition. You'll never co-create something amazing with them if all your life force is spent trying to fix someone who has no desire to grow. This is what I want you to do with this newfound awareness. Start tracking how you feel energetically after you interact with the men in your life. Do you feel more alive or more depleted? Do you feel truly seen and respected, or small and confused? Do you feel inspired to be more of yourself or pressured to be less? Your body is the ultimate scorecard, and its energy feedback is always honest. Begin to trust those first flashes of intuition instead of trying to logic your way out of them. If a dynamic feels off in the first few encounters, it's because it is. If you catch yourself inventing reasons for his actions or trying to downplay his words, that's a signal. If you see yourself shifting your core being, your dreams, your needs, your truth, to keep someone else happy, that is a wealth of data about the health of your connection. Most critically, you need to internalize that leaving people who do not see your value isn't an act of cruelty. It is an act of profound self-love. It is not abandoning hope for love. It is clearing the path for real love to find you. Each minute you spend trying to teach someone your worth is a minute you are unavailable to a person who would never ask you to prove it. The right partner for you will not ask you to dim your light, justify your value, or survive on emotional scraps. The right partner will see your worth instantly and act on it. They will not need to be persuaded to select you, because choosing you will feel like the most obvious, natural thing in the world. I want to leave you with an idea that completely reframed my own understanding of connection. Your standards aren't a wall designed to keep love away. They are a powerful filter that only lets the right kind of love through. When you articulate clearly what you must have to feel honored and secure, you aren't being a problem. You're providing the manual for how you can thrive and give your most loving, open-hearted self. The ones who push back against your standards are not your people. The ones who welcome your standards, who ask questions about how to meet them, who adjust their approach because they genuinely want you to feel good with them. These are the ones. These are the partners who know that love isn't a game of taking, but a practice of creating a space where two souls can blossom together. Every time you hold firm to a boundary, you are modeling for the world how you must be treated. Every time you walk away from disrespect, you send a ripple of self-worth through every cell of your being. Every time you put yourself first, ahead of someone else's convenience, you lay the foundation for a life built on mutual honor, not one-sided sacrifice. This is not about building armor or shutting down your heart. This is about becoming so clear and deliberate about who gets your sacred energy, your time, and your soul. It's about knowing your love is a treasure and must be given to people who can see its profound value, not to those who treat it like it's common. Here's the last piece of truth, and it might be the most powerful thing I say to you today. It is not your job to fix the people who break your heart. It is not your job to coach people into loving you correctly. It is not your job to remain in situations that dim your glow because someone else is afraid to step into their own light. Your mission is not to be so endlessly compassionate, so patient, and so forgiving that you completely lose yourself. Your mission is not to love someone so hard that they change. Your mission is to be unapologetically you, to honor what you need, to trust your gut, and to build a life that is a true reflection of your spirit. The love you seek is also seeking you. But it can only find you once you stop accepting anything less than you are worth. It can only see you when you are standing in your full truth, not when you're making yourself smaller, easier, or more palatable for another's ego. So, the next time you hear one of these 5 phrases, I want this talk to echo in your mind. I want you to breathe deep, to trust what you know in your bones, and to make the decision that honors you. Because you deserve a love that feels like expansion, not a love that feels like a cage. You deserve a love that champions your becoming, not one that resents it. You deserve a love that cherishes your sensitivity as a superpower, not a flaw. Turn away from anyone who makes you second, guess your own magic, and walk toward those who see it and celebrate it. Your future self is depending on you to have the bravery to choose you. Even when it's daunting, even when it's painful, even when it means releasing a fantasy that was never destined to be real. The right love will not demand your self-sacrifice as payment for entry. The right love will feel like coming home, not like leaving a part of yourself at the door. Believe in that, choose that, and never again accept a single thing less.